Well, the Democrat grift machine never stops chugging along, and now we have a new book from Karine Jean-Pierre. You may know her as CRINGE Jean-Pierre, one of the worst. She is the DEI press secretary for the fraudulent, corrupt, and evil Biden regime. She will say basically anything. And many agree that she is way worse than even Jen Psaki, who looks like Mark Zuckerberg with a red wig on. We're going to go through this book. It's called Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party line. She now, of course, I guess is an independent or something. I don't know what's going on. But I'm going to tell you guys, nobody is interested in this stupid book. It now sits at 1.5 stars on Amazon with only 15 reviews. It's 192 pages, and she's selling it for $30, guys. I mean, this is it's getting crazy. She doesn't understand the economy. She doesn't understand her average fan is probably on food stamps, and they can't buy books with food stamps, but you know how it goes. Let's cut into some of her big qualifications according to Democrats. You're going to love this.
Karine Jean-Pierre made history during President Biden's administration as the longest-serving female press secretary, as well as the first black female person, human being, first immigrant, and first only LGBTQ plus person appointed to the position. She's everything.
Yeah.
She everything, says Whoopi Goldberg. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it is impressive to be black, to be a woman, to be gay, and to be an immigrant.
So when this book landed on my desk and I saw a broken White House in the subtitle, I have to say, I thought you were going to say that try as you might to convince Joe Biden to drop out of the race, because what we were seeing is what you were seeing, and he was struggling, couldn't do it. I thought you were going to say you were angry at that, but mostly...
I did too.
What you said in this book is you're angry at the people who tried to push him out.
Yes, that's correct.
Some Americans are going to say, seriously?
But not just the party that pushed him out, the party as it's behaving today in this moment when we need a Democratic Party to be fighting, to be an opposition party. And that really what ignited the book.
Great English, Karine.
And that really what ignited the book.
So she's the actual true Democrat as she leaves the Democratic Party and becomes an independent, and she's mad that the Democratic Party isn't fighting hard enough, so she's going to fight by becoming an independent instead? Okay, whatever. Go ahead and ruin the independent party as well. Let's make everybody MAGA. Yikes.
But I want to pick up on what Tony was saying, because I too thought that. And people said, why didn't members of his inner circle speak up about what many believe was the apparent decline of Joe Biden? You said, you're a member of the inner circle and you never saw the decline. And after that, I wrote, how? Yeah. You even write, Karine, that you were on the plane with him going to the debate and you didn't see anything.
Well, when we were on Air Force One.
Now, a very good question from Gayle King. I mean, this is actually nice to see that even the evil left media is starting to say, okay, come on. Like, we see that Joe Biden has dementia. We see all of the signs that he's losing it. And you're saying behind the scenes, he's sharper than ever. This is obviously not honest. This is ridiculous.
Going to the debate, you got to remember his campaign people were on the team. His family was on the team. I actually was one of those rare trips that I didn't really see him until after the debate, even though I was on the plane. So really, I want everybody to know that I take this question incredibly seriously. I do.
Guys, she takes the question very seriously. Do you understand? She takes it seriously. So right now she's going to be honest when she tells you that I didn't see any problems. And that one day that he had a bad debate performance, I actually wasn't really close to him. So I guess I didn't see it that one day that he had dementia in front of everybody. This is unbelievable, the amount of lies.
I was his White House press secretary, which means I had a role that saw him practically every day and traveled with him.
And you saw nothing.
For more than 95%. We've always said, we're not going to say, oh, he didn't age. He aged.
We always said we're not going to say he didn't age. Nobody is saying that Biden is not aging. Nobody's saying he's Benjamin Button and aging in reverse. We're saying that his brain is messed up and he can't possibly be the president. The guy can't even stay up past 6 o'clock. The guy can't even keep poop in his body and wait till he goes to the toilet. The guy forgets what he's talking about in the middle of sentences. Oh no, that's just aging. It's really insulting that she thinks anybody would believe this.
And he poked fun at it. We always owned up, and with age comes.
You always owned up. When did the Democrats ever own up to anything? When did they say, yeah, you know what? It was really embarrassing for him to fall off that bike. I don't even know why we're sending him out there to do biking. I don't know why he's trying to jog to the plane when he can barely walk. No, we always said we wouldn't say he's not aging. Okay, we're not saying that he's aging too fast. We're saying his brain is messed up.
What happens when you get older?
Which is?
But when we talk about the mental acuity, and again, I take this very, very seriously.
Yeah.
Guys, she takes it very, very seriously. Now, are you ready to believe her? Okay, because she takes this very, very seriously. Unlike all the other things she says where she lies. This time she's being super, super, super serious. So you know she's being honest. Only idiots fall for this.
Never saw anyone who wasn't there. I saw someone who was always engaged. I saw someone who understood policy, pushed us on the policy, and also understood history. And there were times, I'll tell you the story, there were times where he would call me into the Oval Office, and I would be like, oh no, because I knew whatever he was going to ask me was going to be direct, was going to be about a story he read, about how we're pushing back, how we're pushing a message forward.
And you
just stop it. How dumb do you think we are, Karine? How dumb do you think we are?
And I would be like, oh no, because
You were worried that Biden was going to ask you a tough question and you'd be pacing back and forth around the White House going, oh no, what am I going to say when he asks me where the toilet paper is? What am I going to say when he says his diaper's full? I don't know, oh no. Joe Biden's going to ask me a tough question. Oh my gosh, the guy who was pooping his pants is going to ask me a tough question. Oh, what am I going to say? This is the kind of speaking someone does when they do a job interview and nobody knows them. They go, oh yeah, she seems to present herself pretty well. We have your body of work. We have all of your lies. For you to pretend like, no, Joe is totally fine when I saw him. I don't know what happened that one day I didn't see him and he had dementia. But every time I saw him, he was totally fine. Even the idiots on CBS aren't buying this.
Here's the thing. I actually think that the system is broken. The two-party system is broken, and we need it to be fixed, to be working in order for a democracy. Look, just this past Saturday, millions of people, 7 million people showed up to the street to talk about no kings, right? It was a no king rally, to talk about making sure we're fighting for our democracy.
What the heck was that? I think we just saw a demon come out of her. Did you guys hear that? Listen to this.
Making sure we're fighting for our democracy.
Right.
Excuse me. Push the demon back in.
Making sure we're
Those are demons. Absolutely. Oh, you think I'm gone crazy? Oh, Sean, come on. Stick to the stuff here. Don't get into the spiritual stuff.
Making sure we're
That is not normal. That is not normal. That is a demon coming out of somebody.
And so the power should be in the hands of the people, not in the White House, not with one establishment, more broadly.
Yeah.
And so I think as an opposition party, we should see, for example, why aren't there more lawsuits from Democrats? Why are outside...
That's what we need. More lawsuits, guys. This is the grand plan of Karine Jean-Pierre. We need more lawsuits from the Democrats, guys. And this is what really is going to save the country. More lawsuits. Did anyone help her out with her stupid book tour? I mean, where did she get these talking points? The Democratic Party of the future is the Democratic Party that's suing people for no reason and holding up things in the courts. That's what we need more in this country.
Their power.
Will you create a new party? Is that what you're angling for?
No, so I actually talk about this in the book, and it's very nuanced. I'm very much aligned with the values of the Democratic Party, and I understand what it means to have a third-party system and how that can. I talk about the history of third-party candidates in presidential. What I am saying is I want to start a conversation, and I feel...
No, you're definitely starting a conversation about how dumb and dishonest you are and how nobody in the Biden regime can be trusted. Hopefully you're all arrested for all the crimes you committed. And this is why she's saying what she's saying, guys. I mean, she is going to be held up for some serious charges if she knew that Biden was unfit and didn't say anything. So she has to stick to this story. Thankfully, nobody seems to be buying it. We voted to elect you out of the conversation. Not for you to give us advice on how to make you happy.
I am now a private citizen, and I have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And if I could be from the outside pushing and saying, hey, this two-party system isn't working, there are millions.
Hey, this two-party system isn't working. Let me leave and then criticize one of the parties and somehow I'm better than them. I mean, this is typical Democrat stuff. Not take responsibility for anything. Your brand destroyed the Democratic Party. Praise the Lord for that. But now she's going to be an outsider as she leaves the Democratic Party so that she could criticize the Democratic Party as an independent, and somehow we should listen to her and we should care about the stupid conversation she's starting. You suck.
Are becoming independents by.
We would love to see
our.
our representatives get along too, as well.
Yeah, and I talk about that too in the book. The partisanship has hurt
Yeah.
us.
Karine Jean-Pierre, thank you very much.
Wow, they shut her down. Yeah, yep. She just starts laughing because it's like, oh, wow, they're not buying it either. Wow, did you guys hear that I'm the first black woman, immigrant, queer, and that's not making you guys start to worship me or anything? Oh, no, what are we going to do? They actually bring her on for a little bit more, but let's watch that again. This is hilarious. They cut her off and are just like, yeah, even Nate Burleson's like, oh, yeah, sister, you lost me.
Yeah, and I talk about that too in the book. The partisanship has hurt us.
Karine Jean-Pierre, thank you very much. We're up against the wall here, but the book is...
Yeah, I talk about that too in the book.
Partisanship has hurt us.
Yeah, yep. Shut up. You know what they're saying? Shut the heck up. You're making us look bad. You got a demon coming out of you. Yep. Okay, that's enough of you. Colbert didn't like her. Gayle King doesn't like her. Nate Burleson doesn't like her. Katie Tur's husband doesn't like her. She sucks.
I think that it is important to have your moral compass just in general as you think about what's going right now in this country, as you think about vulnerable communities who are under attack. It is important to have your moral compass.
Oh, please, Democrats, tell us about your moral compass, godless Democrats. We'd love to hear it. Those that deny Jesus and sacrifice babies to Moloch and fight for a woman's right to kill her baby whenever she wants to. Can you please preach to me about your moral compass? Woman in a gay relationship, having babies somehow, wrapping yourself up as some sort of president and going on national television with a bow on you or something like this. Worst president ever. Worst president ever and the worst president ever. Look at this. Yikes.
Joe Biden was not under investigation. Again, he objectively had a successful period as president.
Watch it there. Joe Biden arguably had one. I mean, not arguably, objectively. No, you just played yourself. You can't say arguably and then switch it to objectively. That's called a, what do you call it? Freudian slip. She doesn't know what a Freudian slip is. She's just an idiot. Even a broken clock spits out something true once in a while, and she said it arguably one of the worst presidents is probably the better thing. Not objectively a good president. In no objective way is Joe Biden a good president. If Joe Biden was objectively a good president, he wouldn't have had to drop out after the first debate against Donald Trump.
And he was the only person to have beaten Donald Trump, has spent 50 years as public servant. It is not the same.
He spent 50 years. You think that's an accomplishment? See, people with good sense say 50 years as a quote unquote public servant and now you're worth tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, we don't like that. We don't consider that a qualification. That type of experience is not good experience. Then we know you're just bought off and you're part of the apparatus and you have no interest in changing anything. You've been in public office for 50 years and you're still bitching about the things you were bitching about 50 years ago. You're not effective.
And it was, I think, a cruel way to treat someone. Again, not under investigation, had a pretty good presidency, and...
So it started out as an arguably good presidency, then it became an objectively good presidency. Now it's a pretty good presidency. Okay, whatever.
Had beaten Donald Trump. Was the only person who had beaten Donald Trump.
He didn't beat Donald Trump. He stole the election in 2020. You can keep repeating these things. It doesn't make them true. Yes, he was the only one to beat Donald Trump. No, he wasn't. He's the only one to steal the presidency from Donald Trump. You tried on other occasions. It didn't work.
Person who had
was also clearly having problems, right? I mean, lots and lots of people who just watching him on video, let alone meeting him, had reported on that. Have you reflected on why there's this big disconnect between the millions of Americans at home who were watching him and said, I don't know if he's all there, and you saying behind the scenes, wow, he was there?
So a couple of things. We were always honest. You couldn't hide the fact that he was aging.
You were always honest? You were not honest at all. When they showed you videos of him looking completely lost, you called them cheap fakes because you're too dumb to know it's not cheap fakes. It'd be deep fakes, and it's not even that. It's like AI generated.
Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops.
No, Cringe, you're the one that's the cheap fake.
Right? And we saw that. There were moments where it showed that he was no one is denying that, and he would poke fun at that. And he said it was a horrible debate, terrible debate. He has spoken about it. I have spoken about it at the podium.
So one bad debate and they kick him to the curb. That's what Karine Jean-Pierre is going with. If any Democrat honestly believes this, I mean, they're dumber than we thought, right? It was a bad debate performance, guys. You just got to get over it. We all have bad days, including Joe Biden, the best person ever.
I think I said this to you at the 8 o'clock hour, to you and the other anchors.
Let me guess, you take this question very seriously.
And this question, I take it very seriously. When you talk about his mental acuity, we talk about him being all there. He's someone that I saw almost every day, if not every day, and traveled with more than 95% of the time on Marine One, Air Force One. He was someone who would debate with you, engage with you.
What's the disconnect here then? Like, is the country just ageist? Because millions of Americans didn't think he was up to it, but you're saying there was nothing there.
Well, I'm someone.
No problem.
I think the difference is I saw him every day.
Okay.
I did. I saw him.
He's like, okay. Tony's like, okay. Katie Tur's husband's, okay. You saw him every day. That doesn't help your case. It hurts your case, idiot. You saying you saw him every day when we saw him one time and he was really bad, and you going, no, but all the other times he was never bad. Come on. But he was really bad on the day of the debate. Yeah, I wasn't with him the day of the debate. These Democrats are so dishonest, and it really gives black women, immigrants, and queer women a really bad rap. I mean, this is the first blah, 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 and she's horribly dishonest. Even the hacks in the media can see right through her.
Before we let you go, independent, you've left the party. I'll admit, as an independent myself, I did read a few, of these passages and go, it really feels like you're setting this up as Democrats versus Republicans. Would you ever vote Republican?
No, I would not vote Republican.
So then are you an independent?
Well, no, here's the thing. What I'm trying to highlight is the system is indeed broken. We need a two-party system that's functioning, that's actually functioning in order for our democracy to work. And what's happening right now, it is not working.
Okay, so she's leaving the Democratic Party so that she can keep voting for Democrats, but now do it as an independent, even though she knows that a third-party system doesn't really work in this country. Okay. What a genius. I'm so glad we have a black woman representing, the gays and all that.
If you're really an independent, though, how can you rule out a whole party? I mean, presumably, I don't know where you live. There might be a candidate who's Republican who you happen to like more than the Democrat.
Right. I mean, look, right now, where the Republican Party is in this moment, I care about the vulnerable communities out there. Project 2025 is something that they're touting and they're actually ticking off. That's scary to me. That is really, really scary.
Good. This is the thing. The fact that something scares them means it's the right thing to do. I'm not really caring about vulnerable communities. We need less Karine Jean-Pierres in government, period. These are incompetent people. They're dishonest people. They will say anything, and they can't even fool their own party.
Like, the notion that this person was up for being president to 2028, was up for the communications responsibility of this job and fighting. No, well, if he won again, he would have to have been president all the way till 2028. I think that's an absurd thing to suggest that he could have been president. Do you think he could have been president in 2028?
I can't speak to that. Here's what I.
Well, obviously, no. But so was he up for it though? I guess. He didn't.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. I can't. She can't speak to that. She was with him every single day. She vouched for his mental acuity. He's challenging her with all these tough questions, but she can't speak to whether he could have been president until 2028, even though she was basically campaigning for him as the press secretary and talking about how great he was. Even Tim Miller, who's a member of the LGBTQIA plus mafia, along with her, is like, okay, she's obviously full of crap. She's not going to tell us anything. Why write a book called The Independent where you're not even going to dish out on the Democrats? What is the point of your stupid book? The only reason anyone would buy this dumb book is to hear you bash Biden and bash all the stupid Democrats in the White House and all the pervs. If you're not going to do that and you're just going to toe the party line, no one was watching your press conferences. You suck.
And if it's not questions about his health, what made it a broken White House?
So the broken White House is about this current moment.
Okay.
So that's the clarity that need to, because I was really trying to.
That's the clarity that need to. Their book is literally called Independent, a look inside a broken White House. And you're saying, no, the broken White House wasn't the one I'm in. This is a look inside a broken White House that I'm not in. How does that make any sense? You're a liar. It was obviously about the broken White House with dementia Joe Biden and a bunch of pervs all around him and idiots like you. It's not the current state of the White House. That doesn't make any sense. How are you giving a look inside a current state of the White House? You have no insight. Can't even be honest here.
People.
So tell us what you saw day in and day out.
And so the broken White House is the White House that is currently in, obviously has the administration, the Trump administration, and what I'm seeing.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone buy your opinion of a broken White House that you're not in? You have no insights. Who would buy your book? Why would anyone care what you think? You're outside the White House.
Oh my God.
This is a very deceptive title. We know you're lying. We know there's nothing in this book of consequence. This is like a really pathetic attempt to say, see, I actually wrote a book about how I was engaging with the president who obviously had dementia, and I didn't pick up on it because I'm a complete idiot. But don't listen to that. Listen to the fact that I'm black and I'm a woman and I'm queer and I'm an immigrant, blah, blah, blah. You set him back 100 years. There, I said it.
But he was someone that was aware and engaged and active in what we were doing on a daily basis. And that's what I saw. And that's what I speak to in the book.
No, that's what you're going to say when you're on trial because of the AutoPen investigation. See, here's the story, is that Biden was not engaged. Biden didn't know what was going on. And he had enablers in the White House that were keeping the scam going because they didn't care about the direction of the country. They only cared about Joe Biden's legacy. They only cared about hiding the election that he stole and the Democrats stole. So when it was safe to abandon Joe Biden, they did, being the disloyal pervs they are. But Karine Jean-Pierre knows she has some legal issues. She has some criminal issues. And so she's going to keep telling the story about how bright Joe Biden is as she humiliates herself. Here's the thing, Karine Jean-Pierre. Either you're the stupidest person ever or you're a criminal. That's it. I think you're both. I don't think you're going to get away with this. I don't think this defense of, well, the person I saw every day was totally fine, but the person you saw every day was totally messed up in the head. There's really no point in buying CRINGE's book. She doesn't even know why she wrote it. I mean, she's calling it independent, but she's like, we need a two-party system. It's like, okay, idiot, you just gave a third party there. But no, I totally align with the Democrats and the values. I'll never vote for Republican. Okay, so what the hell are you, an independent what? So it just shows they're liars, they're disloyal, and they're probably criminals, and they're going to get arrested if Donald Trump gets to work. This is the thing. We voted for major change. We voted to put these people in prison for stealing the election. We voted for putting the liars and the deceivers that sow dissension among everyone and say that we're a bunch of white supremacists because we're not for every stupid Democrat policy. Yeah, we want to put you in jail. That's where we roll. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
I believe because she's an idiot. And at his worst, Joe Biden was smarter than Karine Jean-Pierre. I'm sure she did panic every time she got called in there. Oh, shit. He wants to talk about the Nobel Prize. The Nobels? Well, this year, Mr. President, the Nobels are thinking about giving it to someone noble. That's all I have for you so far.